What is up, guys? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Crypto FUD. And let's jump right into this, guys. All right. So, first off, happy Wednesday. Happy hump day. Take it how you want it. Happy hump day. It is halfway during the week. We've gone through a lot this week. Let's cover what's going on. I'm not going to take up much of your time today. We're going to do this nice, swiftly, cover the charts. What do I think is going on? Where do I think we're headed? Let's just do this, guys. All right, so Bitcoin right now, currently sitting somewhere around 103,500. If you were living under a rock yesterday, you missed. We dropped down sub 100,000, broke down to about 98,900. On some charts a little bit lower, some charts a little bit higher. But yes, we did see the massive breakdown as of yesterday, which technically we did call this on our members only stream, which was 2 days ago, the day before yesterday. We did call that there was going to be more pain, and I'm going to explain how we were able to call this. I wasn't calling for such a massive drop, but we did call this just due to some of the charts and some of the spots that we were hitting our head on prior to this big drop. Now, what exactly is going on? Well, we're going to cover that right now, just real quickly, just to throw it all out there. Massive sell pressure, right? We're seeing massive sell pressure from big institutions. One of them being Binance. Binance has been selling like crazy. I don't have any word as of now. We'll do a little bit of digging in a second here. But as of 10 hours ago, 12 hours ago, they had sold about roughly close to about $3 billion worth of Bitcoin in the last 24 to 36 hours. Hence, why we saw such a massive drop. You have Binance offloading a lot of Bitcoin and Ethereum. You have other players. I'm hearing a lot of things like Wintermute, which is a big, I don't want to call them a hedge fund, but they do manage a lot of money. They were selling off as well. There's a lot of big players that were selling off all at once. What is going on? Why are they selling? Is this just a big fake out? We're going to talk about this right now. But as of now, it seems like a lot of the sell pressure has subsided slightly, right? We aren't out of the woods yet. Obviously, you can see from that bottom that we did drop, Bitcoin has bounced roughly about 4.5% currently to where we're at right now. So nothing to get, ahead of ourselves as far as it's over with. We do see somewhat of a slight double bottom W pattern towards the upside. I do have this little channel here just for us for right now for today. This was the channel that we basically were in before we did see this big, move towards the downside yesterday. We were kind of teeter-tottering somewhere around 103,006 and pretty much hitting our head at around 104,700. That was the channel before we basically got rejected and we broke below that support level, obviously going down to that 98. As of now, you can see we have come up. There was a support level at around 102,000. When we were on our way up, you could see we basically tested it. This is on the 2 hours, about 4 to 5 times before breaking, getting that support. And then you can see we have moved up since then. But look what we're basically hitting our head on is this bottom channel that we were technically in just 24 hours ago before we broke down. So all in all, right now, it looks like we are trying to build up momentum. I'm not expecting a massive V-shaped recovery as of now unless something big happens as far as like maybe some kind of news or something like that. But I am anticipating that we will slowly start moving up as long as Binance and a lot of these big players have, for whatever reason, sold whatever they were looking to sell. And the bigger sell pressure, and I mean by those billions of dollars, has subsided substantially, right? Some big words there. So right now, things aren't looking the worst, right? Things were getting bad. We broke below that 100,000 mark, but as of now, we have regained the 100 and we're sitting somewhere around the 103,000. So we're looking to find some support somewhere around that 103,600 area. That's that one little channel right here. These are pretty much miscellaneous marks, but they are important as of now in the short frame just because, like I said, these were the areas that we were holding before the big drop as of yesterday. Looking at the bubbles for today, you can see across the board, a lot of these projects are trying to rebound. We're actually seeing some solid rebound from the alts, right? You have ZK up about 41, XPL Plasma up 30%, Zcash coming right back, 21%. Quant up about 16%. Pump Fund, Aster, 20%. Arrow, shout out to Flip, up 12, almost 13%. You can see the markets, they're trying to rebound. Obviously, they were down like crazy yesterday. Yesterday, again, was a solid buy day. Days like yesterday, I know it's rough, but man, if you can take advantage of some of these plays, obviously, you're not doing bad. You're not doing bad. Yesterday, we did have a, 2 days ago, we had a members only stream right before the dip. Obviously, we talked about a potential, drop coming. And the reason why I was able to indicate that was what we pointed out during the member stream was if you zoom out and we go back to when we saw this massive liquidation day, right? This was August the 10th, going to go in history, where we saw that just massive flash crash. Well, from there, we had formed an upward trend in the last 2 weeks, right? We were making higher lows until about 2 days ago. You can see we broke down below the trend and we started to hit our head at the trend that we basically had as support. That was an indication that most likely we were going to see some more downward movement, and that's exactly what we saw. I actually had shorts open during a lot of this. I closed them a little too short, did really well. Yesterday was crazy because I did really well in shorts, got my ass handed to on a couple longs, trying to catch some of the bottoms bounces, did really well on shorts, got my ass handed to on a short, and then did really well last night when I opened up a long at around 99,000. It just was back and forth. At the end of the day, I was doing really well. I think I basically gave up all my profits on one of the last little spots that I did just because the market has been so unpredictable in regards to leverage trading and stuff like that. So compared to a lot of stuff that I'm seeing with a lot of this leverage trading, the liquidations, I'll take it, pretty much evened out. It is what it is, right? But I did catch the dip as far as buying on some of these projects. Yesterday, if you guys notice, a project that I do call out a lot, ICP did really well yesterday. You guys know I do hold ICP, and I was picking up some at the bottom. My average wasn't obviously, this drop right here at $1. I called this out. Obviously this was a split second flash crash. If you were able to buy ICP at $1, you did really well because, look at this. From that bottom flash crash to what we hit yesterday was about 465% move. I guarantee that nobody caught the bottom of ICP that we know of, but even buying ICP at $2, buying it at $3 was a move because that's a 2 to 3x that you potentially had yesterday. And that's exactly what I did. Was I ended up taking profits on ICP when we made a nice run up yesterday and just reallocated into a couple other plays that we actually talked about on our members only stream. We pointed out plays that I think were some potential big movers whenever this market does heat back up. ICP wasn't one of them, but I'm glad that I was holding on to it because I was able to take profits and move it into some of these other projects that I think are next up as far as running and have very small market caps, but a lot of potential, right? And that's what we covered on our members only stream on, I believe, Monday is the last one that we had. So if you guys are interested, hit that join button. It's only $4.99. It's under $5. $4.99. Come join us. Right now, the market, fear and greed. My gosh, I think yesterday we tapped into extreme fear briefly, but we are right there at the line of extreme fear, and this market is pretty much just shit itself as far as just the fear that's out there. What do I always say? I always say this. Right now, to go hit that buy button yesterday, to add to your bag, it was rough because you just didn't know where the bottom was. You didn't know. You're seeing all over the internet, this is it. It's over 50,000 inbound. Crazy, just crazy shit, right? Stuff that we've already heard. If you've been around during multiple cycles, we've heard all this before, right? And, sometimes one day it will happen where we're going to be in a bear market. It's going to happen, but I don't think we're anywhere there yet. We still have a lot of gas in this bull run that we're still in. There's just a lot of manipulation, unfortunately, for this go around, and it is literally just scaring the shit out of retail. That's the big thing, is that everybody's waiting for altcoin season to come in. Who do you think buys all the alts? You think it's going to be BlackRock and Michael Saylor? No, they're buying Bitcoin and Ethereum. And Saylor's just buying Bitcoin, right? Tom Lee buying Ethereum. Who's buying all the alts, all your meme coins? Most of them are going to be, 99% of them are going to be retail. That's when you're going to see your projects, as far as any of your meme coins and your small caps and stuff like that, really see that explosive move. Retail's been scared, right? And do you blame them? They're terrified to come in because of this, just the movement that we've had in the last just 4 weeks would make somebody want to jump off a freaking bridge if you bought in at the wrong time. And you saw your portfolio just basically go down 90% in split seconds, and some days down 40%. It's been crazy. This is something where if you're not used to it, this would easily scare a lot of people away. So it is what it is, but there will be a time where retail gets its confidence and we will be moving up. And honestly, I think that's when, if, like, let's say this month we can close November off with a big bounce, and November sees, like, in the green, we're up, maybe 20+%. I think it's going to follow that momentum into, like, December. And I think that's when we're potentially going to start seeing retail start FOMOing in. Maybe we get that alt season sometime, and maybe the end of December, January, something like that. But you notice how my time frames are starting to shift further down the road, right? And it's not that I'm losing confidence or anything like that. It's just with everything that we've been given, there's just no way, we don't have enough time for alt season to essentially come in November like we were anticipating, right? We're literally first weekend in November. There's no way that you're going to see trillions of dollars just come flowing in the next week or two. It's not possible. It's not possible at all. So, it is what it is, but it will come. It will come whenever we're least expecting it. We were expecting this massive bounce in October, didn't get it. We're expecting, November is going to be just unstoppable. Well, it still can be, but we're expecting all this, and we're getting the opposite, right? So I think when we're least expecting, that's when we're going to start seeing this market really start picking up, and really alts, Bitcoin dominance, Ethereum start running. Everything that was happening just a few months ago will pick back up. We're in beautiful spots right now. And like I said, if you're picking up these dips on some of these projects, insane prices on some of these dips right now. So Bill, what's going on, brother? So everything's looking, we're picking back up, trying to, it's like almost like we just went through war, a 2-day war, and now we're just trying to pick up the pieces and, just let everything be. Get back up and running, right? Cool article. This is the only article that we're going to run, and then I have something big that I want to show you guys as far as where a lot of money is sitting right now. So 5 clear signals that will prove if Bitcoin bull run is still alive. I have not read this whatsoever, so let's just jump into it. So crypto Twitter is filled with claims that everyone is buying Bitcoin from Michael Saylor. Everyone is buying Bitcoin from Michael Saylor and BlackRock to the entire countries and even banks. Yet, despite the accumulation narratives, Bitcoin's price has slipped sharply, breaking below key levels as ETF flows turned negative. The contradiction between bullish headlines and falling prices emphasizes a crucial point. In market driven by liquidity and marginal flow, who's actually buying and when matters far more than who says they are. Bitcoin fell through 106,000. This was as of yesterday, as spot ETF flows turned negative over 4 consecutive sessions. The shift came as BlackRock, IBIT, logged redemptions over the last 4 days, totaling 714.8 million, removing a significant source of daily demand right as a widely watched cycle pivot gave way. According to the far-side investors, the outflows of 88 million, 290 million, and 150 million, and then 186 million coincided with a breakdown. They forced selling by authorized participants who redeemed shares by underlining Bitcoin and offloaded them into the market. Thus, the net flow flipped. When creations slow and redemptions rise across the US spot ETF complex, the daily bid that helped absorb volatility turns into a source of supply. Mid-October saw stretches of net outflows across digital asset funds as Bitcoin battled to stay above 106,004, while there were brief inflows inflow days late in the month, the most recent run titled back into a red and pattern that aligned with the IBIT prints captured above. The mechanical impact matters because ETF flow translates into spot buys and sells, and the timing overlaps with a break of a level that many traders use to distinguish a late cycle pullback from a trend of resumption. Punk, what's going on? Lazy Jay, what's going on, guys? At this, let's see here. So the CME 3-month future premium has cooled to roughly 4 to 5% annualized over the back of the half of the year, curbing carry trade incentives that pull institutional basis demands into rallies. Let's get into why. They're giving us a lot of, basically out of all this that we just said, there was massive outflows with BlackRock particularly with their ETFs basically in the last 3 weeks. But yesterday, the last 36 hours has been just massive coming from BlackRock and from Binance. So let's see here. So the cycle framing ties these pieces together. I recently called $126,000 as the cycle high and $106,400 as a bull bear pivot. The price just lost that pivot as the ETF bid turned into a net selling while bases stayed subdued and funding cooled. Interestingly, common on-chain and cycle monitors such as the 2-year MA multiplier, Pi Cycle Top, and the RHODL have failed to reach euphoria this cycle, even near the highs. And get what they're saying here. All these indicators usually, when Bitcoin's making all-time highs, euphoria in the market usually is at all-time highs. We haven't seen that, right? Hence, that we really haven't seen what a typical top of the market, right? Bitcoin's made all-time highs. Ethereum's made all-time highs. Solana's made all-time highs, right? A lot of these projects have made all-time highs, but the euphoria, right, in the market hasn't paralleled with that. And that's what I think is crazy, is that we still haven't seen that euphoria stage in the market yet, really indicating, all right, this is this is the top right here, right? Everybody and their mother is going crazy. Everybody's making massive amount of money. No, we haven't seen any of that yet. Are we going to see that? I think that's what everybody is waiting to find out. So metrics are already slipping towards distribution and mean reverse, or let's see here, revisioned as flow support has faded. This could mean the bull run will be extended this cycle, or it could represent diminishing returns when compared to prior cycle transitions. Let's see here. So how to tell if Bitcoin bull run is still going? So ETF flows, right? So we're going to need, we're obviously going to need to see and get those news that a lot of inflows are starting to pour back in. Fund flows, leverage conditions. Leverage this go around has been such a big thing. There's just so much leverage, so much people buy are either shorting or long in the markets, that it is moving the markets, I think, a lot crazier this time around versus there wasn't this kind of leverage trading back just 4 years ago. You really couldn't long or short Bitcoin, maybe other than, I would imagine, I don't even remember because I wasn't doing any leverage back in 2020, 2021, but I can imagine there was maybe 1 or 2 places you could literally probably buy, open up shorts, any kind of shorts or long positions. Now there's every freaking swap has a perpetual, right? You go onto any of these, you even get onto any of these big central exchanges, there's leverage trading everywhere. And that's what's going on, is you're getting a lot of these people don't know what the hell they're doing. They're getting wrecked. And even if they have little $100 positions open, it stacks up when you're talking about millions of people. These leverages, the shorts or longs have to be covered, right? Whether through buying or selling. And this is a big thing here, I think, is a leverage trading. Macro liquidity, the DXY, and the 10-year yield. The DXY has actually gone up, and this is not good for any risk on assets, right? This is the chart for the dollar. Let me pull up real quick the daily so you can kind of get a comprehensive look here. You can see a dreaded W pattern for the dollar as of now. And you can see, let's see here, you can see the double bottom W pattern on the dollar indicating a move towards the upside. Looks like it's probably going to come up towards this 100.551 area. Hopefully we get some kind of a rejection at that spot that was support prior. Hopefully we get some kind of a rejection on that DXY, because we do not want the dollar going up. Usually means just like the same thing with gold. If gold's rallying, risk on assets are usually not rallying, right? It's inverse. It's inverse. So dollar needs to start coming down. We did drop down to, so far for this cycle, the low at around $96. I'm actually going to mark that here. 96 has been the low. We need to get back down there and below. We haven't even talked about the DXY just because it's been, steadily moving down, right? It hasn't been an issue. Now that it's kind of looking like it wants to bounce, it could become an issue. So we'll definitely have to continue to monitor that. And then mining supply pressure, basically rising hash prices and stable or falling miner selling will hint that a market is absorbing new supply comfortably. Bullish behavior, collapsing hash price or spikes in miner transfers to exchanges often mean stress points within uptrends. So those are pretty much, and I know a lot of this is kind of like gibberish to most people, but again, the big thing is really this ETFs. We want to see the ETFs obviously just flip back over to a lot of inbound coming in, and I think that's what we're going to probably see when we get the numbers for today. Bitcoin just got back up above 104 real quick while we were talking. It did bounce a little bit below again, but you can see, again, we talked about this level. We definitely want to find it as support. This is on the 2 hour. This is around 103,006. If we can have this as support, I wouldn't be surprised if we come up to around this 104.6. This is going to be a spot, mark my words, that's going to probably be an area for some resistance where we might end up coming up and doing something like this, and hopefully we bounce towards the upside and not towards the downside on that. Let's see here. Ricky, what's going on, brother? Jay said, and shorts and longs, bro. Yes. Leverage trading. I've been hearing a lot of people, they're like, bro, a lot of like big like YouTubers and people that I follow like on Twitter and stuff, they're like, we wish that fucking leverage trading never would have came to the crypto market, because it has. I mean, if you're the very small few that are making money off this leverage trading, the vast majority of people are getting their ass handed to. And it's not that you're a bad trader, it's just the market is so fucking unpredictable. Excuse my language. It's so unpredictable that, and then you go on some of these you go over, let me move this over here real quick. Like this right here. I have, I don't have any positions open right now, but this is where I long and short Bitcoin and Solana and Ethereum, right? You can see long, shorts. Look what you can do. I could freaking open up right now a short or a long, a 250x. Like, do you comprehend? Do you comprehend a 250x leverage? That means if I were to open up, and excuse all my lines here and stuff, this is what I use for leverage trading on here. But if I were to open up something right here, for a 250x, if Bitcoin moved like $100 either way, I could either easily be liquidated within seconds of me opening up, a position. And this is what I'm saying, like, it has gone to the extreme. 100x used to be that spot where you're like, holy shit, 100x, and then they put 150. Now it's 250x, and this some perpetuals and some some of these leverage areas that central exchanges that you can open up leverage, they're even higher in some spots where it's completely. I mean, unless you know for a 100% fact that Bitcoin's about to move up or down, there is no reason why anyone should open up anything more than a 40x, in my opinion. And a 40x is even pushing it there. But this right here is just insane. Yes, it sounds amazing. You're like, I can open up I can put $100 position, 250x. What is that? $25,000 if it played itself out fully. That's like lottery numbers that it's going to play out fully, but you could make some money if you just had some insight on where the direction the market was heading, right? But in these day and ages, even if like right now you're looking at some of this stuff and you're like, oh, we're moving up, go ahead and open up a long, and right when you open up that position, bam, Bitcoin starts moving down, and you get liquidated. So it's just the way it works, as far as that. And yeah, I mean, I love leverage trading because it's fun to me, but I also do it I do it knowing that anything I just put in, there's a big chance that it's going to get lost and especially if it, like, a lot of times, like, I'll open up a position and I'm like, all right, I'm going to go jump in the shower real quick. I'll come back and I'm like, what the fuck happened? I'm like, or I'll come back and I'm like, up 200 something percent. That's how fast it's just like, so you have to be on it. You have to be watching it like crazy. So Jay said it's like sports betting. It literally is like sports betting, bro. You guys know, especially I feel like this is a member stream because all the members, that's what's up. All you guys, bro. I love you guys. Bro, but it's literally like I tell you guys all the time. It's like going to the freaking casino, right? Going to the casino, that's pretty much what the equivalency is, right? So if you're going to the casino willing to lose 100, that's what you should be doing. Not financial advice, but that's what if you're going to be leverage trading, that's how you should be treating it. So Ricky said that sounds like a bit of like whining, bro. Screw you, Ricky. All right? Screw you, bro. I got liquidated. Listen, because I don't know if you saw the beginning of the stream. I did really well with a lot of my positions, and then I just got my ass handed to. I don't know if it was like this morning. I think it was like this morning. I was like, bro. I basically, all the profits that I made off of my leverage trading in the last 24 hours, I handed it all back to them. And I was like, of course, right? So it is what it is. But Ricky, I know you'll take this in, no Diddy, but you'll like this. On the 1 week, on the 1 week chart on the liquidations where we have a lot of money, look where we have a lot of money piled up right now. We have a lot of money, not towards the downside, believe it or not. Look at this. We have majority of our money is stacked up right now somewhere around that 111,955 area. You can see there's massive money all at or around that area, as of now. And the reason why this is big, because a lot of times Bitcoin will tend to gravitate towards where there's money resting or money waiting, right? So you can see this isn't a bulletproof, 100% we're just going to shoot up to 111, 112,000, but I wouldn't be surprised as long as sell pressure, doesn't seem to keep, sell pressure doesn't, we don't see what we saw yesterday as far as just billions on billions of dollars just being sold, every hour. I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing Bitcoin start gravitating back up towards that 109, 110, maybe even 112,000, in these next few days or however long it may take. So, like I said before, things yesterday, it sucked. It does, but we're going to go through shit like this, and it's really not just yesterday. It's been the last, 4 weeks have been brutal. They really have. But if you really put away your emotions, which you shouldn't have emotions when trading, I know it's hard, but you really should stay away from being so emotional. There's a lot of money to be made, a lot of positions to be grabbed and taken advantage of. We talked about it yesterday 2 days ago on our members only stream. I picked up a big bag of some Fetch AI, or I think it's called something else now, Singularity. This was a play that I did call 2 days ago, and I did take advantage of yesterday's dip. So you can see, nothing crazy, but it's starting to move towards the upside as everything else is. This was one of the plays up about 14% that I did call out 2 days ago on our members only stream. I think has a lot of potential towards the upside. Market cap has dropped down so much that this thing has so much upward potential. This and a lot of other projects that we did call out on our members only stream. So, Tuan, what's going on, brother? Tuan hit me up yesterday, was like, bro, I think you need to have an emergency stream. Yesterday, I was like, all right, bro. We didn't end up having it yesterday, Tuan, just because the markets were so shitty yesterday, bro. I was like, dude, I'm gonna be on here like a therapist, like, and I was like, just let's let the markets, let everything sort itself out, and then we'll come on after the smoke clears, and we'll assess the damage, But I did want to come out, but at the same time, bro, you guys don't want to see me yesterday. Not that I was like, yesterday was brutal, bro, and sitting here looking at those candles coming down. Ricky said, so did I. I'm also feeling a bit whiny. I hear you, bro. I hear you. I shouldn't have. I think this morning, I'm trying to remember, dude, because it was. So I said earlier in the stream, I caught the second bounce, right? Let me pull up the hourly so it can maybe distinguish a little better. So I caught the second bounce, right? Because I think you even called this out on the Discord yesterday, right? A nice little W pattern that had formed, right? You see the W right there, the double bottom. I ended up picking up a long somewhere around like 99 something. I don't remember the exact spot because it was so freaking quick. Picked up the long at 99, and I ended up selling like right when we came up to about 102,000, just because my train of thought was that we were going to maybe see a continuation today of more sell pressure. So when we came up to this spot, which we've had this marked before all this even dropped, was 102,000 level being some kind of a support or resistance. Obviously, we're coming up. You can see, this is on the 1 hour. You can see how many times we retested it. I should have known, because I probably sold or closed the position on around like maybe this fourth time that we came up to retest it at around 102.1. I closed the position. I was up because I opened up a mass. I'm not gonna say massive, but it was a higher leverage. I was just throwing a Hail Mary out there, just like freaking 90x long. So I went to sleep, woke up this morning, and it was at like 170% up. So I was like, nice, close it, right? Obviously, if I'd have kept it open, would have probably even doubled from there. We bounced off this line a couple times, and I'm like, bro, we might end up getting rejected. So I opened up a Hail Mary short, and just this small movement ended up getting me liquidated off of that. And pretty much even the short that I picked up over here, and I think I didn't pick up a short here. I picked up a short somewhere in this range right here, and I closed it a little short, right? But I ended up making another 150% on here. Got my ass handed to again because I was trying to catch the bottom on a long, right? Did good on this long. Got my ass handed to. Basically evened out pretty much in the last 24 hours on leverage. So now, as of now, Ricky, I'm like, you know what? Let's just take a pause on leverage trading, and we'll see how everything plays itself out. So we'll see. Gene comes in with a hard question again. My boy Gene. Bitcoin price prediction, the end of 2025. All right, I'm just going to throw a number out there, Gene. Let's see here. 2025, that gives us 7 weeks from now, Gene. I'm going to say Bitcoin is going to be at $137,000 in the next 7 weeks. That's my prediction. That's what I'm running with. In all due reality, I am running with, a plus 130 potential, another high coming in the next 7 weeks if everything plays itself out properly. But the point of that is I do think that we are going to move towards the upside as we end the year off. That's my predictions, but you have to take everything with a grain of salt with what anybody's telling you right now, because this market is being made and being manipulated by the big market makers, the wallets, and the whales and the institutions right now. So we are at their grasp, unfortunately, as far as where we're going to be at in the next 7 weeks. So I can predict, the charts can, indicate this and that. It don't matter. If one of these big institutions are like, you know what, we've made enough money, dump it. Unfortunately, that's the whim that we're in right now. So, but hopefully this just flushed everything out, and we can, we'll start moving back up, and profits will start being made again with these institutions. They like making money, so excuse me. Ricky said things are gonna rip. Things going to rip someday. Oh, for Fetch, hell yeah, I agree. Possibility of a W forming on the 8 hour unless we just V out, but we all know how it usually ends up. Do I even have an 8 hour on here? I don't have an 8 hour on this chart. Let me see on here. Do we have 8 hours? I have the 6 hour. I have a 6 hour chart on this one. So I don't have it on here, but I mean the 6 hour looks great. The hourly looks fantastic too. I mean, if we can, on this chart that I have right here, support somewhere around 103,008 right here, this would be good if we can find that support. I mean, we're moving. Right now, you can see we've so far 104 is where we've been rejected as of now on the short frame. But honestly, short frame, I mean, right now, we're just looking at the short frame right now just because obviously we want to see us get the frick away from 100,000 and just move our way back up. But I mean, when in doubt, you just zoom out and you look at the charts. Right now, the daily probably looks brutal. The weekly looks freaking absolutely brutal. That's why we're not looking at any of these charts. The 2 hour, though, I pull up the 2 hour and look at the MACD down here, right? We're back on the 2 hour. We're back in the spot where you're seeing a nice flip in the MACD. We're at a spot where we were just a few hours ago in a massive oversold area, hence why we're seeing the bounce as of now. Hopefully we can keep that trend up because the MACD on the 2 hour looks fantastic. I'm sure the 4 hour looks even better. Look at that 4 hour. You go to a larger time frame in the 4 hour, it looks like we haven't even gotten started yet. Look at that. Beautiful reset in the market on the 4 hour. About to see the flipping as well. So I wouldn't be surprised if this plays itself out. We at least, this is what I'm stating right now on the short term frame, right? Resistance at around 104,006, 104,007, just because this was an area that we were bouncing around basically yesterday before we saw the massive drop. You can see we were finding support, like I said earlier, at around 103,660 and resistance at around 104,007, somewhere around those areas. So 104.7 is going to be probably an area that we're going to find as some resistance, but if and when we find that as some support, we flip it. The next big area that I'm calling for resistance as we are on our way back up is going to be this 107.2 and really this 107.6, depending on where we collide into this trend line. Remember, I told you guys the trend is basically what we formed since we saw that big liquidation. The higher low trend, that's what we need to get back above. Once we get it back above that 107,600 area, somewhere around there above that trend area, that's where I think we're going to start. If we can hold that area, we'll start moving back up towards that 110, 115 area as time kind of separates itself from where we're at now and from that big liquidation zone that we had just 3 weeks ago that we talked about on our members only stream. Gonna take time, guys. It's gonna take time for us to build that confidence back in the market. So, but those are what I have. As far as DeFi right now, DeFi actually is doing very well right now. We saw a lot of obviously sell pressure in DeFi yesterday like crazy. But I mean, looking at my list that we have right here in front of me, I mean, look at this. Nothing but solid green. Vanguard on a Solana. A lot of this was, I know a lot of you guys were talking about this just a few weeks ago. It did see a massive drop, but I mean, this thing is up 35% for today. Stock coin, This is something that we were talking about, like maybe a month or two ago when we were kind of in those trenches. Mask is up 30%. I did pick up, add to the bag when we dropped down towards this 20 level right here. Definitely took advantage of it, and it is up about 30% from yesterday. And beautiful, beautiful bounce. This is what I love about Mask is obviously market cap right now a little bit under 3 million, so you're going to see a lot of fluctuations, right? When the market's not doing good, it's going to dump, right? But if you take advantage of these dumps when the going's good for Mask particularly, this thing just wants to freaking start running. As soon as it gets the green light from the market, Mask is going to absolutely rip. It's obviously, you guys know I'm heavily invested in Mask. I can go over everything, the reason why. My biggest thing is that this market cap is so low. It's on exchanges, but it hasn't hit any major exchanges yet. The project's fairly new. It's 5 months old. Has about 30,000 holders for a project that's under $3 million for a meme coin. Volume today 130K. Yesterday was at like 300,000. On good days it does multi-millions of dollars in volume, right? And again, 5 months down the road, still very relevant, very, very big community out there. That's what you need for a meme coin, right? And there's plenty of other meme coins that are just like that, right? But that's what you need. All those check the boxes, and then just getting that hype behind the project. And then obviously the right ingredients of the market running, Bitcoin doing good, the rest of the market doing good. Projects like Mask and a few other meme coins are going to absolutely rip. They're going to rip. ZBEC yesterday, or was it today, had a beautiful bounce. Definitely took advantage. When I saw that we had broke below the 30 level, I was like, holy shit. Started moving some funds around and definitely added to the bag on ZBEC. As of yesterday, I added. I'm glad to see the nice little bounce. ZBEC actually from the bottom up about 30%, about 18% for the day though. So beautiful, beautiful bounce. Obviously, we're gonna have some resistance around this 36 level. This is an area that we actually were holding as support for a while, right? We did break below a few times, but this right here was a buy zone in my opinion for ZBEC for sure. If you guys don't know about ZBEC, go do your research and look that project up. I mean, equivalent to something like a freaking XRP with a market cap of like 1/100th of XRP. So much potential. And going through what stuff that we talked about, Turbo Flip up about 8%, doing pretty good. Toshi's up 8.3%. Fartcoin was another meme coin that I did call out, a couple days ago. Dropped down to about 23 cents. I do think that Fartcoin, as fun as it sounds, I think this thing is going to linger for a while. There's going to be some money to be made with Fartcoin if you're able to buy at some of these levels. I wouldn't be surprised if Fartcoin shoots back up to 50, 60 cents, quick when the markets obviously, get back and there's a lot of confidence in the market. Hold on one second here. Okay. I was getting like a bunch of text messages. Ricky said, I definitely have a feeling they're going to come back one more time. They usually do. Remember I told you about Clanker when it was around $20? Clanker? Is that DeFi or is that a regular? Clanker. Beautiful bounce. Clanker. I just can't get past that. This is on the daily. What the hell is a clanker, bro? Token bot? Is that what that is? Market cap. I think this is it, right? Clanker's at 95. Yeah, market caps. I mean, even with the nice little move towards the upside for, it's up 200% for the month. 94 million dollar market cap. Volume looks great at $80 million. I mean, and this is trading on Binance and Coinbase. This is Aerodom, so this is on Coinbase. So this is a Coinbase right? Yeah, it's on base. Hell yeah. It's a good play right there, bro. Why didn't you tell us about this, bro, before it moves up? I'm just kidding with you. I'm sure you did. I'm sure you brought it up and told us. I got to start writing them down. I'm going to just write down Ricky's plays and Flip's plays. Start writing them down and just checking them. Looks like we're just trying to hold this area as support, man. We're trying. S&P not looking terrible. We did see, one thing yesterday that didn't scare me as much was that it wasn't just Bitcoin and the crypto market that was selling off yesterday. The S&P also, came down, found some support at a previous high, right? So we saw the move down on S&P, NASDAQ, Dow Jones, all doing the same thing yesterday, right? The dollar, obviously, like we talked about earlier, having a little bit of a spike, but as of today, you can see same thing. S&P's trying to spike back up. Gold, yesterday it did technically get above 4K, but one thing I will say about gold is, it did see that significant drop. Right, we called this out, this M pattern. We called it out. You saw the drop. Now this support level, which would technically be resistance at around 4,057, it hasn't even come back up to retest it as of now. You can see it is consolidating. Again, I wouldn't be surprised if maybe we see one more go with gold if something, happens in the markets and maybe it tries to bounce up. I'm going to put an area like, because we did see some resistance, like maybe something where a bounce where it runs up to like 41 and everybody's like, oh, gold's going back up, buy gold. Just like they were telling, I forgot who it was, one of those billionaires, buy gold when it was at 43, and look at it. They haven't been heard of since. They were on like freaking one of the business channels and they were like, gold. And it was just like, bro, gold's up because, especially during this time, because the whole market, this was during, the recent scare and tariffs and stuff like that. When the markets get scared, they either run to the dollar or they run to gold, right? So a lot now that things are starting to kind of hopefully, resolve itself, I don't think there's going to be a need for gold to really pump and people to hide their money in gold like old school. They're going to, move it back over towards the markets. I think for this, we still have a little bit more gas in these markets before we get into an official bear market. I think that is looming around the corner at some point. So Ricky said, hopefully ZBEC will make a sprout. I agree, bro. Hopefully soon, at some point. I don't doubt ZBEC whatsoever. I honestly don't. That's why on the dips, ZBEC's not even hard to buy during the dips. It really isn't. Everything else is hard. ZBEC's just not hard to buy during the dips. I'm just like, oh, we just dropped down. If it's a big drop, I'm like, all right, add to the bag. Ricky said I bought gold at 800 and thought it was risky. I was just thinking about it, bro. We're about to be over, but I was just thinking about it when I was younger. Crazy days, right? There was a day where Crip was in his 20s and he used to run around and was crazy out there, going to clubs and all that stuff. And I remember one night I'm at a shady place just because I was with a bunch of girls, and I had I bought a gold chain like maybe 2 years prior, and it was about 32 grams. It wasn't like tacky. It was just a beautiful gold Cuban link chain, and I remember buying it for $600 for 32 grams. At the time I was like, damn, it's pretty expensive. It was $600. This now, you're talking 15 plus years ago, and I bought the chain and it was for $600, 32, basically an ounce, right? An ounce of gold. And paid $600. And I remember the guy was like, yeah, he's like, this is a good price. And I'm like, he's just trying to sell me. But I ended up buying the chain. Freaking loved it. You know what I'm saying? I do like wearing, like having a nice gold chain, especially I'm Cuban, right? If you ever been to Florida, you ever been to Cubans wear gold, right? You ever seen Scarface and go down to Miami? They'll usually have tacky big gold chains. I wasn't really into that, but the point of what I'm getting to is I bought the chain 2 years later, I'm at a sketchy place drinking with friends, and I was with like 6 girls and me and one other guy, and some stuff started happening, and I ended up having to defend myself. And in the mix of all this, my chain got ripped off, right? And it did hurt even during the time when I got home and I was like, my chain was gone. I was like, oh my God. But 15 years down the road, I'm looking, I was just thinking about it today, and I was like, damn, dude, that $600 chain would be worth $4,000 right now. Not that I would ever, sell it or anything like that, but whoever's walking around with my chain, and you better believe somebody is, they're probably walking around with a free $4,000 chain, and I'm just like, it eats me up. So it is what it is, but I haven't ever rebought it, just because I was like punished myself for that happening. But, the last couple of years I was like, man, I want to get like a nice little chain, but I was like, I'm not spending. Now that same chain would be $3,500 to $4,000 for that chain. And I was like, there's no way in hell I'm spending that right now on jewelry, Yep. Oh yeah, Ricky. Someone literally snatched it off my neck. There was like 5 guys on me, bro. Snatched it off my neck. I'm like, bro, it wasn't a good situation. So, but you live and you learn, right? You live and you learn. That's a little story of Crip 15 years ago. So, but guys, that's pretty much it. Hopefully, we'll see a nice, beautiful rebound in the markets, and tomorrow we'll have the markets stay good. I'll be here every day, guys. All right. It's when the markets start taking a shit. We do our member streams, but I can't come out here and be a crypto therapist every single day, because I need a therapist at some point, So, but it is what it is. I think we're going to be all right, guys. With that being said, keep your heads up. Happy hump day. Hit that freaking like button. Hit that freaking subscribe button. All right, if you're new here. And hopefully we'll be back here tomorrow. All right, guys. All right, I thank you guys so much. I really do. I hope you guys have a great day. All right, I'll see you guys soon.